Well, it's finally happened. A Trump supporter has been arrested for threatening the life of Representative Ilhan Omar. Now, Yahoo News is identifying this man as Patrick W. Carliano, 55 years old, and he was arrested on Friday morning and charged by criminal complaint with threatening to assault and murder Omar. So now, let me give you the details here. On March 21st, a staff member in Omar's office had received a phone call around 12:20 p.m. During the call, an individual, eventually identified as Carlino, allegedly said to the staff member, quote, "Do you work for the Muslim Brotherhood? Why are you working for her? She's an expletive terrorist. I'll put a bullet in her skull." Muslim Brotherhood. I wonder where anybody would get the idea that Ilhan Omar is working for a secret Muslim organization while in Congress. I wonder.
Your party is not anti-Israel. She is. Think about this. She's not getting this anti-Israel sentiment doctrine from the Democrat Party. So if it's not rooted in the party, where is she getting it from? Think about it. Omar wears a hijab, which according to the Quran 33:59 tells women to cover so they won't get molested. Is her adherence to this Islamic doctrine indicative of her adherence to Sharia law, which in itself is antithetical to the United States Constitution?
She wears a hijab, so she can't be an American. She must be working for Muslims, the Muslim Brotherhood. Man, her voice is like nails on a chalkboard. I know, right? So, look, that's the video that was too much for Fox News. But, look, it had its intended effect. Stirred up people who are insanely Islamophobic against her. And look, Jeanine Pirro wasn't the only one. Donald Trump attacked all Muslims, saying once before at a rally, we have a problem. It's called the Muslims. I mean, how much clearer can you be? Oh, but Jeff, what if it's a leftist, a secret leftist that attacked Omar? That makes no sense at all. It would be completely ridiculous, but I know there are people out there that will immediately come up with that sort of conspiracy theory to try to deflect blame against away from Donald Trump. But no, this was Trump inspired. In fact, Carliano told the agents that he is both a patriot and a lover of Donald Trump and hates radical Muslims in government. He said, "If our forefathers were still alive, they'd put a bullet in her head." Really? Really? You know, those same founders, by the way, flawed as they were, they had no quarrel with the Muslim nations. In fact, they said in the Treaty of Tripoli, "The government of the United States of America has in itself no character of enmity against the laws, religion, or tranquility of the Muslims," also known as Muslimin. Thomas Jefferson had a Quran. You know what? The Founding Fathers would actually have more issues with Omar being a woman of color than a Muslim. Just saying. This guy also told agents that Omar supported Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood, and that her election to Congress was illegitimate. Without any proof. But hey, who needs proof anyway? When you can just come up with radical conspiracies you probably heard on InfoWars. I mean, then again, these people don't operate in the real world of facts. He was threatening to murder a U.S. Congresswoman because of what he heard on these different various right-wing outlets and for the President of the United States. And they found guns in his house. He could have done this. But this is what happens when you constantly demagogue a minority group, whether it be Muslims, Jews, Mexicans, etc. And the way that this is done is it's called stochastic terrorism. When you call people the enemy, you demagogue and say, "Oh, we've got to do something. Muslims are coming. They're here. They're going to create Sharia law And they're having a dual allegiance to the Muslim Brotherhood. We got to do something about it. If they're against America, they're going to destroy our way of life. Well, what do you think's going to happen? Somebody's going to actually do something. And that's what this is. And they're going to try to do something. So, look, where are the Democrats on this, by the way? Well, AOC is there, of course. She said that basically Jeanine Pirro, that clip, was to blame. She said, understand when Jeanine Pirro goes on Fox and rallies people to think that hijabs are threatening, it leads to this. Folks who imply we're bad for politics, the party, the country, etc., have no idea the threats we deal with because of that kind of language. Talk policy, not personal. So there is AOC. But what about the other Democrats? I haven't really heard anything from them. These and the ones that I'm really talking about are the people who voted to condemn Omar's remarks against AIPAC, right? Now, AIPAC is a lobbyist group, and she said lobbyist groups tend to influence politicians with money. Well, that's the whole point of a lobbyist group, is to influence politicians to vote your way on a policy or go towards a certain ideology, right? So in this case, it's to continue supporting the right-wing government of Israel. But everybody in the Democratic Party, not everybody, but a lot of these older entrenched politicians, well, they said, oh my God, that's anti-Semitic. Chuck Schumer, who spoke at AIPAC. You have, Nancy Pelosi. A lot of these older, supporters of the right-wing government of Israel came out and said, that is horribly anti-Semitic. We will condemn you. And now, of course, later on, it didn't actually condemn Omar by name. It was a general condemnation of hate. But are these Democrats coming out there and saying, we're sorry about this, that we attacked Omar as well? I mean, look, they didn't defend her when she was being viciously attacked by the right wing over supposed anti-Semitic comments, which weren't at all. No, they joined in the attack. They attacked her. And of course, the right wing has this fake outrage, like, oh, how dare you be anti-Semitic? When in reality, a lot of people on the right that are virulently anti-Semitic. And they really only support Israel because it fits into their end times narrative. And AIPAC, of course, doesn't represent all Jewish people. It just really represents the right wing. But this is what happens when you smear and fearmonger against Muslims. Now, thank goodness this dude was dumb enough to leave his name and number when he called in those threats, so that cops and officials, law enforcement was able to find him. But others might be a little smarter. Again, this wasn't the only threat Omar has faced. Last week, Omar was scheduled to speak at a Los Angeles banquet for the Council of American Islamic Relations, that is a Muslim civil rights group. Prior to the event, however, an unnamed woman left a voicemail at the Hilton where it was to be held. This voicemail said, quote, "What would you do if I told you your hotel was going to be bombed? That is exactly what's going to happen if you allow the likes of Ilhan Omar into your hotel. She is a danger to American society and your hotel. You are not to allow her foot into there. If you value your own safety, do not allow her in there. Cancel the event." Well, I mean, she's such a danger to America and to your hotel because I will bomb the hotel. That's what they're saying. No, it would appear that you are the danger to the hotel. If you are making threats, you are a danger to America when you are making threats against a congresswoman for being a Muslim. I mean, jeez, man. A month before that, the FBI arrested Coast Guard Lieutenant Christopher Hassan in Maryland. Now, he's a white nationalist, and he had been stockpiling weapons and preparing the hit list. That included a lot of prominent Democrats. Elizabeth Warren, also CNN's Don Lemon, and guess whose name was also there? Ilhan Omar. You know what? We do have a problem here in the United States. It's called right-wing terrorism. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent progressive media.